Welcome classic rock fans to a gig review, and my word, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Well, the other night I had the pleasure of going to see Yes, the current incarnation of Yes, in Nottingham. And this show started off with a moving tribute to Alan White, and of course introduced by Roger Dean, who was actually there kindly signing things for people, and had all his artwork on display, which was fascinating to have him there. And when the band finally did take the stage, with Steve Howe with that guitar, Mr. Gibson, Jeff Downes sporting a just tumbled out of bed look, and Billy Sherwood looking as if to say beds are for wimps. Although I have to admit, he played Chris Squire's parts flawlessly. I almost hated him for that. Not just satisfied with playing the bass parts, he seems to have simulated some of Chris Squire's moves. It's as if the big man still haunts the stage in some respects. I think all Billy Sherwood needs to do now to finally cement his Chris Squire persona is start turning up to the gigs 20 minutes late. But this is Yes 2022, and I must admit I was surprised at how tonight's performance was imbued with a sense of energy and purpose. You had Steve Howe rushing the front of the stage as if he wanted to chin somebody. He always employs that startled, he's like some prog meerkat. Anyway, Jeff Downes surrounded by keyboards, occasionally reaching across to both different banks. I'm pretty sure our curry-loving friend had copyrighted that move. The only thing missing here, of course, is a cape. So, spoiler alert, I will be talking in the rest of this video about the set list, so feel free to navigate away if you want to. So they open with Silent Wings of Freedom from the Tomato album, slightly rearranged, but nevertheless intriguing number to open up with. Drama is represented, we get Yours Is No Disgrace, Wondrous Stories, a couple of songs from the new album The Quest. The highlight of this part of the show is undoubtedly the beautiful rendition of South Side of the Sky, with some wonderful visuals behind it. And I must admit the sound was absolutely pristine. It was like going to see the Eagles play. I could hear every tap of the cymbal and every resonant bass note. It was just absolutely fabulous in that respect. Beautifully balanced as well. I have seen some footage of this band performing in Glasgow a few nights ago, and some of the sounds pretty dodgy. However, there's a lot to be said for things recorded on a very naff recording system, where somebody sticking an iPhone in the air. It certainly didn't sound like that when I was actually in the show, immersed in this music. And the visuals are delightful as well, beautifully representing the myth, the magic, and the music of this band. All this kaleidoscopic swirl of colours to the wintry landscape for South Side of the Sky, and the ice bridge as well. Steve Howe's an absolute legend. Billy Sherwood, I just loved hearing those bass parts played in a live forum once more. And let's face it, he's got some pretty big shoes to fill, but he does remarkably well, I think. And the second part of the show, where they played Close to the Edge, was absolutely magical, I thought. It sounded great. It didn't sound slowed or sludgy in any way whatsoever. I've heard some comments from people saying that they weren't happy with the way this is played now. Andre Schellen, I don't know if I've said his name right, he does a great job as well. Must be difficult filling that drum stall at this point. Mind you, in all fairness, I'm not sure Alan White did a great deal with the band on the last tour or so. We've got these solo performances as well. I think the message here is we're focusing on the music rather than the personalities, although Steve Howe does get a little moment in the sun. And You and I was fabulous. Siberian Catry was absolutely wonderful. I mean, some have said that these performances have lacked some spark or energy. That certainly wasn't the case tonight. Thankfully, no Owner of a Lonely Heart or no Big Generator. That period of Yes was not represented at all, and quite rightly so. The only quibbles I'd have is, I didn't think I'd ever see the day where I'd go to a concert and be expected to pay £30 for a tour programme, or t-shirts would be about 35 quid. That really is, mind you, the programme was a weighty tome, I'll give them that, but nevertheless it would be a weighty tome I'd look at once or twice, then it would just gather dust on my shelf. So I didn't buy any merchandise. Although this is the way bands make money these days, I think it's through ticket sales and merchandise, because they sure as shit don't make anything from Spotify. And of course another quibble is that there was nothing from Topographic Oceans and there was nothing from Relayer, but I suspect the reason for that is that some mammoth shows planned for next year, where these two albums hopefully well, be faithfully represented, excluding all others if I had my way. I'd love to see them do... Would it be possible, Topographic Oceans in its entirety and Relayer? Would that be asking way too much? Who knows, but I'd certainly like to see a huge, sizable chunk of that album played. Maybe next year, anyway. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this show. I thought John Davison did a great job. He does sound slightly different from John Anderson, but that's probably because he isn't John Anderson. I know the No John Anderson, No Yes, and this is a tribute band is going to rage out in the comments below, but that's fair enough. But all I can say is it was a beautiful evening of beautiful music, played beautifully. I'll leave it there. Anyway, we've been watching a gig review from Classic Album Review. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to click like, subscribe, and definitely check that bell. And I will leave you with my closing salvo, which is, as you know, hope you're well, staying safe, but more importantly that you keep listening.